tonight.
Yeah, I forgot to change the restream, so it says last week's. I've been drinking Busch Light, doing Delta 8.
Where does it say
Busch Light?
last stream's topic? What, in the actual header?
Yeah, no, we're fine.
All right,
Just
yeah,
roll
right. No
with
one's
it.
watching anyways. Fucking
Right.
we're a bunch of drunks. All right, on that note, tonight on the Red Eye Report, we're talking about Skylab, NASA's first trailer home in the sky. With us tonight is our regular gaggle of goons. We've got Oblong Oracle, Two Dog Teddy, Menstrual Cramp Mystic, and the Astroplane of Assholes Ashtray. And this is the Red Eye Report.
Nice
You
intro.
have the laziest intros.
I know I do, right?
They're
The
so bad.
laziest fucking intros, bro.
So bad.
Yeah. Why? Because I do actual research. Whereas you guys just read off of a fucking internet.
That
site.
is true. That is true. Touche.
Mm,
All right.
read
So,
I'd rather have a
fucking
good
internet.
intro.
You guys, fuck your intro. So, you guys, any of you guys remember Skylab? I mean, it was before our times. But
So the only thing I remember
Or what do you
from
think of or remember?
Skylab is looking at an encyclopedia like Britannica or some shit. Yeah, whatever the traveling salesman would sell
Yeah.
to the Midwestern
To your
families.
grandmother?
Right.
yeah.
And so we had all these things, and this is what I use, before the internet or whatever, and I would page through these fucking encyclopedias, and Skylab was in there. And I think there was a period of time where I thought the International Space Station was Skylab.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, it makes sense because Skylab was, in a way, Skylab is what led to
We skipped right past the pause for the
International
call.
Space Station. Yeah. So before we get into the
You were even asking, like, hey, what's the
details.
name? Are we going live?
You even had a name. You had his name
What's the
already.
name for it? Are we going live?
Yeah,
All
right.
right. Well,
doing
I
all
see you
that
had to go get your
research.
fucking drink. Look at Teddy. He's in fucking. What are you in? Queens, New York. With
Why has
that
it gotta be a
That's
background?
what
Black-
Queens looks
I mean, really?
like.
Why does it got to be? Why
Yeah.
go to Queens?
What's wrong with
It's gotta
Queens?
be a ghetto.
Queens is
I mean,
hipster
really.
now. It's not black. Black people aren't allowed to live in Queens anymore. Didn't you know that? Brooklyn as well. Anyways,
All that, the Bronx and shit.
no, I think they pushed them
This
all
ain't
into
in
New
Manhattan.
Jersey.
No, I went to
Um,
New Jersey.
Yeah, New Jersey and Long Island.
Hey, what's this for?
So we're gonna do a little pause for the cause for the Dane County Humane Society, and this time it's for a small little puggle. His name is Pumpeldorf.
Pumpledorf.
Dumbledore.
It's
So,
a pretty cool name, actually.
Pumpledorf actually has asthma, severe
Yeah.
asthma.
So
Needs
you gotta make sure to blow your weed smoke in his mouth, not his nose.
Huge testicles.
right, huge testicles and asthma.
Yep. You know, you win some, you lose some when you're a pug. Or a puggle, actually, when you're those crazy hybrids. So, Skylab.
Uggle.
Skylab was launched in May 14th, 1973. I heard of Skylab, but I didn't remember much of it. It was actually looking for some old space photos through my vintage National Geographics from October 1974. Come across this old issue about Skylab, and I start reading about it, and they start talking about this crazy, rescue mission to save Skylab. I'm like, what the fuck was that all about? So, turns out, I'm surprised there isn't some fucking Michael Bay movie about this, but so
there
the
will be.
Apollo.
There is.
After the Apollo missions,
they stopped production.
the Werner von Braun, who is the
Mhm.
the godfather of rockets, and who also
Didn't he make the
we basically
V2s?
stole him from the Nazis. Yeah,
Yeah,
we basically
yeah.
stole him from the Nazis to make our space program. His goal, after the success of the Apollo missions and going to the moon, was that, well, let's make we want to make a space station. And his theory was, first make a space station around the Earth, and you learn how to live and work in a space station, and then from a space station we can maybe then make other ways of launching further out into the universe. And
and then we get the Expanse.
Right, exactly. So Von Braun thought, if you show here on the old outline there, his like fucking little sketch he's got. He's like, oh yeah, we'll just take this. Like right now you're showing, you can loop that.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the sketch.
Here's the sketch. He's
that's what they built this thing off of?
Well, what they did is they actually just
sketch there.
Yeah, well, and what he did is rather resourceful. He's like, well, let's take the same pieces we built for the Apollo missions, these rockets sections in these cylinders, and hollow them out, and let's like make a fucking little tube station up in the sky. And you can see below that illustration there is kind of a cutaway, like drawing of like the living quarters and such. So because they've NASA already had manufacturers who are making these, these tubes and pieces for the rocket already.
Right.
It's just a lot easier.
What would normally be in that tube?
What would normally be in that tube would either be like satellites that they would be launching, or could be additional fuel. Maybe if it was, because I think it was it's the same Saturn V rocket.
So I guess if you're trying to get to the moon or whatever, maybe.
So like for the moon, they had their they had the lunar lander, and they probably had extra fuel because they were going all the way to the moon and such. But they basically took those sections, retrofitted them to be a space station. And this was also at the same time when they built the first, this is at the old Marshall Space Center in Huntsville, Alabama. They built, it was that first underwater zero buoyancy tank, which growing up as a kid we saw all the time in the NASA videos, right? Like the astronauts practicing underwater.
It was in the Space Camp movie.
Yeah. So all that was started with these NASA engineers was like, well, what about ship floats in the water? What if we just make a big fuck off tank? And they brought old Von Braun down, and Von Braun was like, wanted to get his own old ass in a spacesuit and go in there. And this guy in the fucking documentary said Von Braun came out and he goes, yeah, it's good, continue. And it's just like they kind of talk about him like he's just revered mystic of rocketeering, but still talks like with this very broken German English. And this tank was 75 feet in diameter, 40 feet deep, and it held 1.5 million gallons of water. So this is where they actually put sections of the space station in while they were working on how to fix it, because as they're about ready to launch, the fucking old Ruskies, to surprise, bam, April 1971, they launched their first space station. They beat us, the fuckers.
Mir.
There was the Salute station.
Mir.
Yep. It was before Mir. And they had a crew up there of 3 cosmonauts, and they actually also had the ability of transmitting live TV back to Russia. So like everyone in the Soviet Union were able to watch live what the astronauts were doing.
Wait, of course, what year was this?
71.
Yeah, I don't know that too many people had TVs in 1971 in Russia.
In Soviet Union,
True.
yeah. They yeah, they probably all had to go down to the communist hall and watch it on
their fucking
huddle around a
bread
13-inch
bank.
TV.
113-inch for every 1,000 people.
They had so they stayed in space and transmitted back to the Soviet people, and they were there for 24 days. And then they took off in their capsule to return back to Earth. And as they're coming back, they lost contact with the crew, and the capsule landed. And they rushed up to the capsule and opened it up, and they found all three of them dead, blood everywhere. Wow. A faulty air valve.
Jeez.
Ruptured while re-entry. So, like, they didn't burn, but it, like a rapid depressurization because they were still up too high.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so
it
was like
horrible way to die.
Right? I know. And
brought to you by Russia.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, and the thing too is like they were
successful cosmonauts.
They were on this like month-long high of like, yep, we fucking beat the US into space. We got a space station up.
Right.
They're still working on theirs.
But they're still alive.
And then all three died.
That's dude, I just can't stop thinking about how horrible that would be.
Oh yeah,
because it would just crush you, wouldn't it?
It would be like
instantaneous. It was an asphyxiation.
Yeah, so you just choke to death.
Well, why would there be blood everywhere?
Did something explode or panel pop out into somebody's face? Or
if they're the thing is though, is they're still in space. Their pressure.
The pressure inside the capsule is much higher than outside.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so like
expand. Their bodies expand.
their body and probably.
Oh, it's got to suck. It's like the guy
when you
it's like the guy did the Big Trouble in Little China. He just kept getting bigger until he exploded.
That's kind of what I think they asphyxiated because of their bodies. Their bodies just fucking got bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
well, that's pretty disturbing.
Their lungs probably swelled to where the lungs couldn't even try to bring in the air. Let alone there's
so it's like drowning
oxygen up that high
in fucking space. Oh,
man.
Yeah, could have even drowned in their own like bodily fluids.
Wow.
So that was depressing for Russia. Then in fast forward May 14th, 1973, launch day finally comes after 7 years of preparation for Skylab, and after liftoff.
Hold on. Is this a Skylab just a U.S. thing, or is this like a joint?
It is just a U.S.
country
thing. So this is this is pre-International Space Station.
Gotcha.
After 1 minute and 3 seconds into the launch, NASA's like, oh, we got telemetry readings are off. The telemetry readings are off, and I was thinking, oh man, what the fuck's telemetry? Do any of you guys know what telemetry is? So I was like, it's got to be probably like how the rocket balances or some shit, right?
No, telemetry is just the fucking. Isn't that where they're going? Like the arc?
No, that's what I thought. Like the calculation of like how they're firing. No, it's so stupid. Telemetry. Telemetry basically stands for the process of making a measurement with a sensor and then transmitting the information of that measurement to a remote source. So it's just like...
Oh, so it's the radio transmission from the sensor.
It's the radio transmission from all the different sensors on the ship. So when they say, oh, the telemetry's bad, it basically just means the sensors are not reading right.
So it probably stands for telecommunications metrics.
It sounds so smart, like rocket science.
Metrics.
Right.
Right, I thought it was like they had to use
always
technically it is rocket
science and shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like I thought that it was super when I looked it up and I'm like, no,
and
really?
Teddy is right. It technically is
rocket science. I mean,
it's true.
What we are talking about now, yes. But
we're fucking geniuses.
Well, even and telemetry doesn't even have to be wireless. It can be like you have a cord plugged into a sensor that's like way down there, and the act of that signal coming from the sensor is
so
telemetry.
like if all of the cars, so like if I'm driving a car and all of the sensors, oil pressure, all that shit stops working, my telemetry is down, is what you're telling me?
Your telemetry's failed, basically.
Okay. That's really weird. I don't know.
I mean,
change the tires, nigga.
You could probably get into. There's probably some nerd who would say, "Well, no, because you're within the direct vicinity of the reader and the sensor, and it's not really that far of a transmission."
Harsh are cool, bro.
Oh, fuck off. Anyways, so you can sound impressive by showing people that telemetry is actually just a basic fucking concept.
Yeah, then they're gonna be like, "Okay, nerd, fucking shut up."
Yeah, right. Fuck off. Well, I heard it on the Red Eye report.
Which means it's right. 100% verified.
Yeah. So, anyways, they're like, "Fuck, our telemetry's off." Thing being though, it was like when they're like, "Oh, telemetry's off," it's like a fancy way of saying like shit ain't reading right. Like this isn't what we're expecting. And the thing is, at that time, no one knows. They're really what the fuck is going on. So but the rocket still doesn't blow up, goes all the way up there, and it deploys, gets into orbit like it's supposed to, but then they start getting readings of the internal temperature. The internal temperatures went up to, they were reading like 170 to 190 degrees Fahrenheit.
Damn.
Which is like
people are supposed to be in there.
Yeah, people are supposed to live in that. Like, oh fuck. And the so what they assumed,
that's a safe cooking temperature for like chicken and
yeah
shit.
Right.
I mean,
what they assumed was that one of the meteorite shields on the side of the space station ripped off during launch at that minute 3 second mark, and that it was the sun was having direct exposure on the living quarters, basically, like on the wall of it. So it was heating up everything inside. And the thing is, the first crew that was supposed to live in the space station was supposed to launch the next day.
Yeah.
And so they don't really know, like there's no one up there yet, but they know some shit's wrong, but they don't know what's wrong. So what can they do? They postpone the mission for 10 days. And these fuckers basically decide, like, all right, boys, like, mission's completely new now, right? Like, here's what we think might be wrong, and we're gonna try to just MacGyver some way of saving our ass in this entire program.
I need some bubble gum,
and we're gonna send you up with some tools.
Yeah, and a paperclip.
And hopefully,
hurry up! I made bongs out of less.
Yeah, right. Don't forget your baseball cards and chewing gum. They sent them up. They're like, okay, so we're pretty sure they know that one of the solar arrays that's supposed to give it power. So the station just didn't have power, because what happened is the meteorite shield came off, and then the solar array, which is supposed to straight out like a wing in space, it goes out like when you stick your hand out the window of a car on the highway, and it's like, just ripped right the fuck off. And the other solar array, luckily, a strap from the meteorite shield like tangled around it and kept it folded in. So the second array survived. Mind you, NASA doesn't even know this yet. Like, they're still on the ground preparing. They have 10 days to try to figure out what the fuck they're going to do. They get, well, what can we do to, like, we got to get the heat down. If the meteorite shield's gone, how are we going to cool down the station? And so I was like, well, shit, why don't we just get ourselves a big old parasol umbrella, and we'll just put that umbrella up to block the sun. And that's literally what NASA did. In 10 days, they engineered a collapsible big parasol umbrella of Mylar. And they had like a crew of like old lady seamstresses who were like sewing this big fuck off umbrella, and they managed to compact it down so it could fit into the space capsule with the astronauts who were already planning to go up there, who were already have a payload of experiments and equipment and supplies. they then send them up with this umbrella contraption that they're going to stick out a port window that's for scientific instruments. They're like, they engineered it to still fit through that window and then open up and spread out over the where the meteorite heat shield should have been. So now if you go further up, Oracle, on the outline in the pictures, you'll see on that second picture.
That's what that fucking Home Depot tarp thing is?
Tarp looks like. Yes, that's what that is.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
It is.
Okay.
Home Depot tarp.
That looks sketchy as shit, man.
Exactly. So,
hey, it's just 73, dude.
Well, yeah, I was reading this in this old fucking National Geographic. I'm like, you shitting me? So they get up there. They've got this this umbrella and this idea that, like, okay, we're gonna put this umbrella out. We're gonna cool down the living quarters, and then we're gonna they knew that the second solar array was still there, but it wasn't deployed, and it wasn't till they actually were up there flying. 10 days later, they got all this shit and this plan, and they practice in the underwater tank and everything for well, how are we going to try to fucking unstuck this solar array? They get up there and they're flying around in their space capsule, right? And they do a okay, what the fuck was it called? It was a EVA, a stand-up EVA, they call it, which was a stand-up EVA is just a fancy way of saying that while one astronaut was flying, controlling the capsule, the other two astronauts had their spacesuits on, and were stuck outside the port door. And one astronaut was anchored down into the port door, and then he held on to the feet of the other astronaut. Well, that astronaut hung out into space with this long pole and a hook.
Oh my god!
They couldn't tether him to the other astronaut. He had to.
I'm sure he had
a group.
Yeah, we gotta go full Tom Cruise with this shit.
I mean, really,
you're right.
But to stabilize him, he had to hold on to his feet. I'm sure he was tethered with a rope of some sort.
Okay, so you say that you said he had to be held by dude's feet, and he all the space is dangling by ankles.
But the dude,
cue dramatic music,
because the dude he's literally hanging out some guy standing on the top step of a step ladder, with a big long fucking pole with a screw hook on the side, trying to get his shoes out of the tree.
Well, not to mention that they're going around the Earth at 17,000 miles an hour.
Right, yeah.
And trying to keep in stable position with this satellite or this space station.
Oh my god.
And so in order to tug on the solar array, the other astronaut had to hold his feet, because it wasn't their capsule had foot anchors.
Before we go on, I want to ask Oracle a question. And this, depending on his answer, is going to show the level of what government is at nowadays. Because back then they were just like, oh, we got 10 days. We don't know what the fuck's going on. This is what we think's going on. But good luck. Did that ever happen to you, Oracle? Where they're like, hey, we don't really know what's going on, but we're going to send your ass in there.
That was the Iraq War.
Yeah.
They didn't know what they were doing from the beginning, man.
Yeah, nothing has changed in 40-some years, 50 years.
Right.
It's government, dude. They're like, well, we don't really know, but that's why we got you. Go ahead.
Where are we going? We don't know. What we doing? Yeah. We don't know.
So, well, the thing, too, though, is between this and Apollo 13, it's man, back then, I don't know if it was because they could still smoke in the control room, where they could just fucking MacGyver their way out of some very tricky
that was a
situations.
Good scene in Apollo 13.
Where
he's like, this is what you have to work with.
Yep, yeah, he just
don't. Breathing fucking
telling
apparatus.
Oracle that
5 hours.
We got to scrub the CO2 out of the air, and here's all they got to work with. Here's a sock and duct tape. So they're out there on the outside one guy's like got his feet locked in, the other one's holding on to the other guy's feet, trying to loosen this thing. And NASA's like reading their heart rates, and they're like, "All right, dudes, like gotta cut this like out. Like your heart's racing, and
because they're dangling in space.
Yeah, you're also dangling in space.
Try to be
like Oracle said, they're doing 17,000 miles an hour in space.
And like
space.
Nobody's probably done anything like a spacewalk before, right?
This was they had done spacewalks, but this whole mission was actually like it proved that astronauts had the ability to basically do kind of on the fly repairs and troubleshoot, and like besides just getting outside of your space capsule, you could actually go out and work and fix on things just like they did with Hubble telescope, years and years later. So anyways, they can't get the fucking solar array loose. So but what they do is in that stand-up EVA, besides him yanking on it, they took photos all the way around, and they found that it was just a small metal strap that was wrapped around the solar array that was holding it down. And part of the tools that they came up with were these lineman tools.
Pocket knife?
Well, like
here, let me take care of that, bud. There you go.
And think of it like an industrial kind of bolt cutters on a 25-foot long pole.
Jesus Christ.
And the thing is, this space station was not designed for spacewalks. So there weren't handholds, there weren't rails.
Oh, wow.
Those
gloves they wear they're not standing there.
Right?
Yeah, they're big old puffy ass.
Yeah, you're like wearing fucking mittens and shit in the winter.
Mm-hmm. And
tie your shoes.
Oh, shit.
So I'm sure they had a safety rope per se, but like they said, it was like trying to, walk on the belly side of a big whale and there's just nothing to grab onto. They stuck so they used this 25-foot long pole and they managed to kind of anchor it to where the strap was holding the solar array down. And then using the 25-foot long pole, one astronaut went and used it like a handrail and walked out to about the middle. And then the one astronaut stayed at the far end of the 25-foot pole. And
do not let go, Gene.
The two of them, mind you, while they're doing this, the guys down in Alabama were under water in that tank with a mock-up doing the same thing. And they're like,
bringing it full
because
circle.
they had 14 days after they initially went around. So the tarp, the Home Depot tarp idea actually worked. It brought the temperatures down, and there wasn't another thing they were afraid of was poisonous gases because of all the plastic hardware and stuff in there. Wasn't designed to be in that kind of temperature.
In the sun, yeah.
And anyways, but they got it to where they could go in, got the temperature down, and then they did that crazy ass stand-up EVA around. They took photos everywhere. So then they took 14 days of staying in the station while down on the ground, NASA basically rebuilt up the mock-up in the aquarium. And they did it at the same time, live, and communicated back and forth. Hey, try doing it this way. Blah, blah, blah. We had success if you try to put the pole over here, yada, yada. And anyways, that guy, crazy ass guy who was walked out in the middle holding on to that pole, he put basically the bolt cutters is on a long rope. And the astronaut at the end of the 25-foot pole was the one who was anchored it down. And then the guy in the middle, just put the rope on his shoulder and stood up to create as much tension as possible. And they actually cut through.
Really?
Strap.
Wow.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And when this happened,
sketchy as shit, man.
I know.
This is a Michael Bay movie.
Right.
When this happened,
this
NASA,
writes itself.
They were in a loss of signal zone.
Transformer in it though, just for the fuck of it.
There was they had, I can't remember, it was what they said, 20 or 30 minutes where they were in a zone where they lost radio communication, so they had to wait to hear from them. So NASA didn't even know if they were done or not. But then they started seeing on the readings that the batteries were charging.
Wait, hold on. So was it? I'm sorry, this is totally off topic. Was it Michael Bay who did fucking Armageddon, or was that Jerry Bruckheimer?
Jerry Bruckheimer.
Yeah.
I know he produced it, but I don't know that he directed it. Let me see.
Not sure.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
But so they managed to get the strap cut. The solar array came out, started charging up the batteries, which then, powered the actual power they needed for the life support systems. But then it was also, so if you see in the photo there, see how they, like, that's why I describe it. It's like a fucking mini golf windmill.
Mm-hmm.
So that thing with the 4 fins out, solar arrays, that's actually was a solar telescope. They did some of the first like telescopic pictures of the sun from space with that. But the thing is,
look at that it really, now that you have explained it in that way, it really does look like a separate kind of thing.
Yep, it is kind of like its own separate unit, and that's why I think the solar arrays for that were fine, but I don't like it was enough to power that instrument, and not to actually power the station itself. But it turned out that the single array was enough for them to complete their mission, and they stayed. Then that was Skylab 2 is the name of the mission. It was the first crew. They stayed in there for 28 days, and then Skylab 3. Well, the thing is, and actually, when Skylab the first crew came down, it happened to be like at the same time when Premier Brezhnev from the Soviet Union was visiting the U.S. And so he and President Nixon actually like met the astronauts when they landed, which is kind of one of those. It's interesting for as much as we've beefed with the Russians when it comes to like the space program.
They are good at space.
Well, they're definitely good. Like, and that's even SpaceX. Their rockets are built based on the core engineering of the Russian rockets, which is like they're just so efficient is the word I'm looking for. Anyways, to round out the story here, they then had they were able to continue with the actual full plan of what they wanted to do with Skylab with this ghetto Home Depot tarp, which a secondary crew like later then went and like reinforced it because they weren't sure how long the Home Depot one was going to last in the sun. But the Skylab 3
if it lasted, Home Depot's got one hell of a fucking commercial.
Yeah, right. And it almost looks like
rednecks from all around could be buying them goddamn tarps. Tornado season, fuck you, buddy. Here we go.
Yeah, right. Fucking just hold up in space. It looks like Home Depot orange too in that.
Right.
It does.
The second crew that went up there, they were dubbed the Super Crew because they ended up they stayed there for 60 days and they accomplished like 150% of their mission objectives.
They shoot a porno?
Well, I mean, where the other 50% come from?
What they do.
What they do.
This also though goes to show how it's that like how if you're really efficient and good, how they're like, oh well, obviously we didn't give you guys enough work, right? So poor fucking Skylab mission 4, the third crew goes up, and they're expected to be getting just as much shit done. At the same time, mind you, this is when they're trying to do more and more scientific experiments. So the astronauts are no longer like from the same cut as Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, like because they're all
not test pilots and shit.
Exactly, they're not like fucking crazy suicidal test pilots. They're
scientists.
Exactly. They need total nerds. Yeah. Nerds. But, also, these nerds weren't quite cut out for it. And NASA thought that they needed more work. So
you got time to lean, you got time to clean.
Exactly. Skylab 4, they launch up there November 16th, 1973. And
Travis.
One of the members, Bill Pogue, his name was Old Iron Belly because he was actually he wasn't a test pilot, but he was a former pilot. And his ass, what the fuck did
all he ate were baked beans and bacon.
Yeah. Old Iron Belly, he actually got sick.
Oh.
And he's like normally doesn't throw
iron. Yeah, right.
But they called him Iron
ironic.
Belly because on all of his other, like, you know, all the fighter jets and stuff he's flown, he never got sick. But he got sick, and he starts throwing up. Well, the crew decides, well, we don't want to fucking worry NASA. We got up here and we've got they had a huge heavy load set for like the first half of the mission, and they decide, well, we're just gonna we're not gonna tell NASA, right? Like, kind of play it low key on old Iron Belly. But the thing they forgot is that even though they weren't talking on the radio with NASA, like every night the audio recordings of the entire station get downloaded to NASA. So NASA listens to it and it's like, motherfuckers. And so they got, chewed out for basically, you can't lie to us about, that you're sick. And somehow the New York Times got a hold of that. So that made a fucking NASA scandal. But the thing is, this last crew, they were getting behind schedule. And so they started skipping their rest days. And then NASA decides, well, they're just not getting things done fast enough. So we'll start micromanaging. So they started ticker taping instructions, like minute by minute instructions. Okay, do this and then do that and do this. And it's like by the time the ticker tapes prints out that instruction and they read it, like they're already behind. And
this sounds like the fucking terrible experience.
And so the
fucking Iron Bellies puking all over the place.
It sounds to me like they need to get their resumes together,
right.
They're skipping work day or rest days, and they're trying to get all these different tasks and experiments done. They're doing tests on the body, which I'm sure was fun. Let's see how long you can do this while in zero gravity. So what they started to do is trying to squeeze as much work in as possible. Instead of all three of them getting together every morning for their morning meeting with ground control, they would do it. They would just rotate where each other day, an astronaut would be the one who actually is communicating with ground control while the other ones are continuing work on the projects that need to get done. And one day, it was on December, it was the 28th, the 42nd day of the mission. In the morning, ground control's like, Skylab, ground control, come in. And there's just dead silence. And they're like, the fuck? They keep calling, and nothing. And here, after I think it was 13 minutes or something, they when the astronaut's like, this is Skylab, yep, over. Turns out each astronaut thought the other one's turn was to be the one talking with ground control, and they were all working on their projects and ignoring ground control.
This sounds like a shit show.
Oh, it was a shit show. The thing is, though,
I would have just ignored them anyway, because what are they going to do?
Right.
Well,
are they going to fire you?
The thing is, there's kind of the conspiracy thought, even though being that they were able to download the audio recordings every night, it probably was a genuine, accident, they didn't actually plan it, but it kind of feels like because they were just getting, they were working 16 hours a day and skipping their rest days, cramped in this little fucking capsule floating in space, that they're kind of like, fuck ground control. What are they going to do?
Oh, it was just totally aliens. They were communicating.
Anyways, though, it was the first the first, I guess, incident of where they realized that there needs to be a little more, I guess, interpersonal communication between ground control and the astronauts, and also respect for the astronauts who can't just go home to their wife and kids.
We're 45 minutes into this. Where are we going with this? What happened to Skylab?
So Skylab.
You said the right off the story like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, Skylab. How long did it last?
Skylab then crash landed in I think it was 1975. It did not stay in orbit as long as they wanted. Solar winds, I guess, it kind of pushed it down a little south too much. And the reason they were planning to initially go back there with the space shuttle program, but the space shuttle program was delayed, and then it started getting a little too low in the atmosphere, and it ended up crashing over the sea near Australia.
And the International Space Station didn't go up until what, the mid-90s?
Yeah, gosh, I'm pretty sure it was the 90s when
that
one went up.
So it was like
in high
20
school.
years.
It's been up there for a while, and
years. It's like from the time of Skylab to the International Space Station. But Russia had Mir too.
Mir, right? And what was the one that we had?
Did we have one after Skylab?
Yeah, there was. We had one after Skylab.
What?
But before the International Space Station, we all just decided. Well,
I didn't even know it. That's like the forgotten stepchild of space stations.
But yeah,
there was one before, after. What was it called? Before the ISS.
Yeah, there was one before the ISS.
Never fucking heard of it.
What was it called? It wasn't. So it was. I think it was around the same time that Mir was the. It's because there was a time when they both actually linked up. Do you remember that? The Soviet space station.
I thought that was.
And the NASA space station.
Requiem
it wasn't
for
International
a Dream.
Space Station.
End to end.
Yeah, it was like a
Jennifer Connelly. End to end. Come on.
End to end.
Here
we go. Space stations, NASA.
Are you sure?
It doesn't say. I don't think there was.
I don't think there was one.
The ISS.
Space Lab.
That's what we just
talked about.
No, we talked about Skylab.
Skylab. They called it Space Lab.
But
they're like fucking Microsoft. They just call it the same thing.
Right?
Over and over again. Xbox Series X, Xbox One X.
Yeah, let's see here. Skylab, turning the space shuttle into a science laboratory.
Right, let's get this shit moving.
Anyways, yeah. So Skylab crashed. The end. But everything that we've used in space has been built upon what we did there, and our astronauts didn't die.
Thanks, Obama.
Thanks, Obama. All right, moving along. Teddy, what's sexy? He's got a blank.
Oh, do I?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
All right, Oracle. Head on a pike. What's sexy?
Head on a pike.
That was last week's.
No,
okay. You didn't fill that in either.
No, I did.
I thought you had that.
You fucking cocksuckers. Don't deny me.
I thought you had it as your what's sexy last
No,
week.
I was talking about the radio show.
Podcast.
Yeah, the podcast. So I got my book, $20, illustrated lyrics of Matt Pike with High on Fire, all of the songs that they have, and it's really cool. So
hold it closer to your face because your green screen thing is making it disappear to the audience.
All right. So each chapter has
hold it in front of your face.
You still can't see it.
We don't need to see your stupid face, so put it in front of your face.
Okay.
Still can't see it.
That is
there it goes.
Shut the fuck up. All right. Each chapter
can barely see
has
it.
like a new artist.
Put it closer to the camera.
And it's all the lyrics. So here, let me go to.
Stupid fucking. All he sees is goddamn mountain lions behind him.
Yeah, so like each album has a different artist.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
You
can't
fucking
see it.
cocksuckers. All right. Anyway, it's really cool to fucking sit and listen to the songs and read the lyrics in this, especially
Is it
for
every album?
Yeah, every
song?
album.
Damn.
It's
I put
really
something in the
fucking
section.
cool.
Are his lyrics any good?
Yeah, I mean, for a stoner fucking dirtbag, sure, they're fine.
All right.
And the best thing is when I got this envelope, like it was just like a fucking, envelope that you'd get from anybody. And they had spelled Gimme Radio wrong. Like, I think they were too high to like understand
Probably.
the alphabet or something when they filled it out. And I'm like, yes, here we go.
Perfect.
Got the right thing. But it's high quality. It's not like some
Not some
piece of shit.
fucking guy who's selling it at a
Yeah, like it's really nice.
flea market.
Yeah.
Looks like he typed
For
it
my
out on
records,
fucking...
man.
Yeah. There you go.
Nice.
Bam.
All right. Mystic Formula One.
So, Formula One's coming to Miami. They created a track in Miami for it, so it's going to go through the Dolphin Stadium on May 8th.
What?
2:30 to 4:30. Yeah, part of it, it's a road course in Miami.
Damn.
Part of it goes through the fucking Dolphin Stadium.
Wow.
We're not on the field, of course, but
Yeah, on the field.
Like across the field. That's
Yeah.
crazy. They put the fucking road across the field.
Probably just took the they probably just took the shit out and yeah, dude. So they created this fucking this track specifically for Formula One road course. It's going to be it's a good chance for Americans to see this sport if you like racing, because
That's pretty cool.
we don't get to really watch it live unless you're watching it at fucking midnight or 2 a.m. or something.
Right.
So this will be the third. Well, they're doing 2 races this year. They're doing this one and at Circuit of the Americas in Austin. And then next year they're going to be doing this one, Circuit of the Americas, and Vegas is going to be doing the same thing.
Mm.
So Vegas will be a street race also. And part of it, I think, is going to go through the Raiders
strip?
Stadium.
Oh, through the Raiders. They should run it through the strip, man.
Oh, it'll be down the strip, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because that's like...
it doesn't
this one
show
is-
it going through the stadium. It shows it going around the stadium.
Okay.
Yeah, you fag.
Okay.
Well,
I thought it was inside.
It looks,
They
okay.
showed it was inside, just like that NASCAR one.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, look, the one I'm looking at it's not showing that. It's showing the around thing. So maybe I don't have the right picture. My bad. If you could put that one up, that'd be awesome. I want to see what it looks like going through because I'm not going to watch the race.
I didn't see a picture. There was a mock-up thing, like a fucking...
You're
video
looking at the
thing.
Pokemon Go fucking map.
What?
Where to find your Pokemons.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. I'm just making shit up.
Here, I'll put this up here.
Right. You better
I'll
put it in the
thing.
fucking outline so
Put it
Oracle
up,
can
bud.
share it with their
Yeah.
This is what I put right here.
Very important.
This is what
Hey,
pops
how
up.
about the people that made the illustrations for these old space stations?
Oh yeah, because that was also back when everything was done by hand.
Yeah. Pretty fucking
But
nice.
yeah, let's hear it for them.
Yeah,
All right,
this is
move
probably
on.
right, but I don't even know that that's the same one.
Teddy.
That's not the same one I saw.
Not really?
Richard Matheson.
He's, so I've
They
been
must
listening
have
to.
changed it.
Started listening to Richard Matheson books on Audible. Pretty cool. I didn't know he wrote these books actually. I've been going for movie
His
books.
name sounds familiar. What did he
Yeah,
write?
that does sound familiar.
He wrote I Am Legend,
Oh, I've read that one.
which
Okay.
which is not there was nothing like the movie either.
It's so much better than the movie.
It's so much better than the movie. Yeah, it's like Castaway with zombies. With the vampires. But and now I'm reading and I'm listening to What Dreams May Come, which I really I didn't know that was I really liked the movie. I didn't know that was a book first also. So also a part of my other movie books was The Princess Bride, which had a totally different ending than the movie, which is pretty cool. Still a good book. But I really enjoy reading listening to my books.
I remember I was so mad about that movie because it was just such a shitty like.
See,
He's just gonna be the badass general scientist who can fix everything.
Now I'm pissed about the movie. I'm like, that was a piece of shit.
It was because what I loved is he was just an everyman like mechanic who was drunk, alcoholic, but he's just like, for whatever reason, I'm still alive. Like, fuck this world. Anyways, on to me. My what's sexy. I'll keep it brief. Is I'm gonna copy Teddy. Because that I Am Legend book is fucking sexy. Keep it at that. Moving along. Fuck it, you think. Oracle, the insanity of TurboTax.
So I've been doing my taxes with TurboTax for like 9 years. And every year it becomes like the most...
Extra windows and clicks.
Extra windows, and it's like you got to dig further.
The no is really small.
To say like, hey, I just want to get... So, okay, this year, to get my deposit in my account, it's like, oh, well, you have to go to this... Are you sure you don't want to, like, put this money into, like, a debit card? Or you want to enter a sweepstakes? And it's just like,
you
what
sure you
the
don't want to bet
fuck?
this
I just want my money.
Exactly. Like, how is this not just the first option where it's a direct deposit? What the fuck's going on here?
Because they have to advertise. In order for them to make it free, as they say it is, they have to advertise. They have to make money out of it somehow. So
dude, I don't pay because I've got some business shit. I can't do the free one. So I'm paying these motherfuckers like $150.
Oh, wow,
like,
okay.
Don't give me this crazy ass shit.
Oh. Yeah,
I mean it's insane, and it seems to get worse like every year. Like
they want to add protections to it, and shit.
Right?
Yeah,
it's like, are you sure you don't want the max protection?
Yeah, it's like,
are you fucking sure?
Well, you got a lot of people who try this out that are for free. When they get that, I'm getting $6,000 back. A lot of those people don't know what to do with that money, and they're like, oh shit, yeah, I'll do.
Right.
So you get a bunch of people like that.
We'll give you $4,500 now, but we're taking your $6,000 when it comes in.
I know. It's crazy. It's getting worse. America's the only country that does it this way. It's a lot easier everywhere else. But
I guess I've never done taxes in a different country.
You know, this is what we're like.
Yeah, so like, did you pay
cowboys.
taxes in China, I assume?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
God knows what that was. No, I did.
Don't let them know.
Dude, everything was under the table, man. Dude, I was hired to pretend like I was a CEO of a security company for like some TV commercial, like by my boss. I had to pretend like I was a Danish citizen.
Is that because you're really doing wet work?
Really?
Yeah.
That was what your job was? I thought you were there for like some English teaching.
No,
dude.
My boss was doing all kinds of shady shit.
All kinds of sides to, okay.
Yeah, he's like, hey, I need you to lie to the police today.
Oh,
great.
The Chinese police.
Yeah, exactly. So I had to sit in a fucking interview with 2 Chinese police fucking grilling me about who I was as I was impersonating another person.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
You are lucky you're not in prison right now.
Oh, my God, yes.
Shit, you probably, it's like, you probably waited this long to share that story.
Right.
Right? No shit. Yeah.
Oracle won't show up for next week's episode. All because they found out he didn't pay his taxes.
Yeah, don't ever go back, bro. Don't visit any friends.
Yeah, right.
Oh, shit. All right. Moving along to Mystic. Fuck you, Abbott.
So Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, sent a busload of migrants that have come from, I think it was Nicaragua. It wasn't Mexico. It was like all the ones from Central America that are waiting at the border. So there's like 170,000 of these migrants waiting at the border, right?
Texas Governor Greg Abbott has just escalated the political fight,
which means that they can't come over. They can't seek asylum in this country. Well, that's supposed to go away on May 28th or something. The Biden administration has made it that way. So now Abbott's pissed that all these migrants are going to be coming in. So he's starting to send migrants on buses to Washington, D.C. Now, mind you, these people have all been.
That reporter's eyes are a little too close together.
These people have all been vetted by the U.S. Customs, and so they're free to fucking go around anywhere they want. They're free in this country because they're being processed through our immigration thing. He can't make them do anything. So all these people volunteered for a free ride.
Right.
Washington, D.C.
Like, sure, I don't want to stay in fucking Texas.
Like, so he's acting like he's fucking being all snarky and shit. Well, this Biden did this so he can fucking deal with him. You know what I mean? Well, that's what they wanted to do with him anyway. So thanks for sending him over, Greg Abbott, you fucking ignorant fuck.
But
God,
also, if you're in Texas, you don't have a way to get to Tennessee, whatever, and they're going through Tennessee, and you want to stop there instead, you just get off the bus.
Right.
Like, yeah, I'm in Nashville. Fuck it, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not getting on the bus. I'm good. I want to come here anyway. Cool, my cousin's over there. All right, word. I'm out.
I mean, like, what the fuck, man?
Right.
You're helping them, and you know what I mean? But they're acting like it's going to be a burden for the government. The federal government. Oh.
Well, and the problem is there's so much of that stupid. It's just spiteful, pity
all it is
maneuvering.
Politics grandstanding, man. That's all it is. Political fucking showboating. Anyway, fuck him. Fuck Greg Abbott. It's shit.
Okay, moving along. What the fuck did you think is there's a podcast on the BBC called The War on Truth. So it's rather new, so there's like maybe 8 episodes, but it starts with following the war on Ukraine and the misinformation that is being used, especially by Russia. But there's actually now a number of these people who like people living in Europe and America who usually they're like the people who live or think along the lines of QAnon and the coronavirus is all fake. Like they also now are they're sure that the entire Ukraine war is fake and that
oh my god,
like the Ukrainians are bombing themselves. There's this in this podcast they're interviewing this Ukrainian woman and her cousin who lives in Moscow, who she was really good friends with, and like this woman is in her 20s, has got 2 kids, and then her cousin, I'm assuming around the same age, but lives in Russia, and her cousin it's like her cousin's posting like QAnon shit, and coronavirus skeptic stuff, but instead it's like, oh yeah, well those pictures of the hospital bombing, like that's the same crisis actor in 2 different hospitals, and the Ukrainians are bombing themselves, and Russia is going to liberate them from these terrorists, and it's just like to where this woman had to basically shut her cousin out of her life because her cousin was constantly being like, why are you sharing? Because she would share these photos because she's like, I'm living right here. Like, look, here's this fucking building down, the block that got bombed and it's on fire. And, it's like, oh, where's the proof? That's what her cousin says. Where's the proof? And yeah, it is easy how it's like, even though we think that the fact that the internet allows, especially because we do get to see this uncensored shit, that it's just like, you can't hide it. But at the same time, it's people just decide, well, this is my little fucking narrative silo.
Yeah.
And I'm going to stay, I'm going to stay in it because it's a lot easier than for me to be like, oh, well, shit, everything I believed.
Did you see that
about my
Ukraine hit that battleship?
Oh, they fucking sunk it, man.
Yeah,
well,
they
I've heard conflicting reports.
Sunk when they were towing it. It sunk while they were
towing
it.
It sunk when it was towing.
It did sink.
Then,
it did sink.
But then Russia put out that it sank because munitions on the ship itself went off.
Right.
It was an accident.
That's the thing, though, is that's the...
They can't even admit.
You
that
can't
somebody
listen to
retaliated.
anything that they say.
Well, and that is how Russia operates. Is what the funny thing is that they said it was damaged because of a fire, and though Ukraine said, "Oh, well, we hit it with a missile, and it was damaged because the munitions went off," and they're like, "Oh no munitions went off. It was just a fire, and we're gonna tow it back." And then now they just advance it a little more, like, it sunk, but because the munitions went off.
Yeah, because it was our munitions.
Our munitions went off.
We set it off
because of the fire that wasn't at all started.
That wasn't started by the Ukrainians whatsoever.
Motherfuckers.
Good.
It's a crazy thing to be Russian. Anyway,
whip some Russian ass. That's what we need to do.
Yeah. If they die, they die.
Yeah, play Modern Warfare 2.
Move it along to Teddy.
That's what they do.
MLB 22 multiplayer and lack thereof.
Okay, so I was most excited about the MLB. It's still a good-looking game. I was most excited about the multiplayer, as I'm sure as was Mystic. It's very hard to find a game. It seems like it's better to do 2v2 instead of 3v3. That's why I don't play with you in DNA as much when you're on. The most disappointing thing is you cannot play 2v2 or 3v3 against your friends. That's the most disappointing because I really wanted to beat the shit out of DNA and Mystic at the same time. That would be awesome. I'll even take Ashtray to do it. It's fine.
Good luck.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I mean the multiplayer is fucked, man. Like it's got this weird slider thing that's like, open the window with how many people you can. It's like, what the fuck is this? This should all be happening on the back end. Like, I don't
want to see any of that shit.
Exactly. And every time we tried to do a 3 versus 3 match when we were playing the other night, it failed every time.
Yeah, it did fail. Yeah.
And then that one time that we were in a game, Mystic. And we're actually coming back on that guy. It fucking froze.
It froze. Yeah, it freezes. Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to fix it. I saw an update came out today for it, and it was supposed to fix those bugs, but who knows?
Yeah. Pretty fucked.
But it's like Mystic said. They had a perfect game last year. I mean, the game was awesome.
Yeah, it worked perfect.
Yeah.
The multiplayer worked perfect. There was no kind of. I mean, you can get in and out of games. It was fucking a perfect, damn near perfect game. It was cool.
For a sports game, it was probably the best sports game I've played in fucking 10 years.
In multiplayer, yeah.
Yeah. I was enjoying it, as a guy that doesn't play a lot of sports games. I was enjoying it, playing it. But, yeah, kind of a bummer.
I am enjoying beating the shit out of everybody.
I beat you, right?
Yeah, you're the only one though. You're the only one, and only because I fell apart in the 7th.
Yeah, well,
I got real.
Doesn't matter when you fall apart. You got
whatever, bro. I'll see you in the playoffs, homie.
Yeah, you will.
Right. That was my
anyway. What are we doing?
That's it. It's now. In all seriousness, go fuck yourself, Humpty. That's our show.
Do the Humpty Dump.
Free dance is your chance to go fuck yourself. Do the fuck yourself. Every Wednesday or Thursday night at 10 p.m. Central. Make sure you join the conversation at theredeyereport.com or facebook.com/Red Report. You can also Wait, you can't Twiddle us. Fuck
just
that.
Don't mention it.
I should delete that because I just keep copying it.
It's like a 6-month lag on that now.
Never. It's like a year lag. I am Ashtray.
I'm Oracle.
I'm
and I'm Teddy.
All right, and this is the Red Eye Report.
Is it?
It sounds like a question.
Bam.
Some days I wonder.